Julius Novachrono has just dropped in Black Clover Mobile, and he is going to be one of the best characters for seasons to come. So today, we are going to be talking about how you guys should be building this character, including which skills you should be upgrading first, what skill cards are going to be good on him, what gear you want to prioritize getting and building on him, whether you should enhance him or not, what talents you want to work on, and then finally, what teams he fits well on for both PvP and PvE. So starting with skill 1, it is called Accelerating Bullet. It inflicts a 5% reduced mobility debuff on an enemy, which is really good for a skill 1. And then upon landing a crit, it grants all allies a 5% increased mobility buff, which is good for PvP. Having more mobility is going to help your team a lot, and this is really good for a skill 1. Additionally, when it comes to landing crits, you don't necessarily want to build crit gear on Julius, but if you can get some gear that has crit substats, that might be the way to go, because that will also help your team a lot. Then for his skill 2, Distorted Time. Not all of these effects are normally here. The additional effects, these bottom two, are added on thanks to Julius's skill card, and that skill card is going to be the best potential option when it comes to skill cards for this character. So if you haven't pulled that skill card yet, you're probably going to want to try to go pull for it. There is other options. I'll talk about what those are here in a minute, but let's talk about skill 2 first. So Distorted Time is an attack all AoE, 50% chance to inflict a time stop debuff on an enemy for 2 turns, and what this is going to do is it's going to increase the cooldown of skill 2 for that enemy by 1 turn and then freeze it, which is incredibly annoying in PvP. And then grants an increased speed level 3 buff for 1 turn, which is a 55% speed increase, which is really good in PvP. If you don't know what PvP is yet, if you haven't tried it out, speed matters a lot, okay? And then inflicts a mobility depletion debuff on a designated enemy. This is thanks to the skill card, right? It sets all mobility to 0 and reduces the attack speed. That's crazy, right? And then 60% chance to inflict a 10% reduced mobility debuff on all enemies except the designated target. That's also really good. So you're going to reduce their mobility too. So accuracy helps with landing that more often. If you wanted to add some like accuracy substats onto your gear, that could help you land that reduced mobility on all enemies more often. And then for his special skill, it is a single target skill, Chronostasis. This is a guaranteed stun, inflicts a stun status element on the enemy for 1 turn, and then additionally inflicts a 25% reduced mobility debuff on the enemy. That's insane, okay? But then it goes on to say, grants an extra turn upon killing the enemy. So basically, it's either you stun and reduce mobility of the enemy, or you kill the enemy and get an extra turn, which is insane. That makes Julius really, really good. So ideally, you would want to do like your special skill first in PvP. You would want to either stun or lower the mobility of the enemy, right? Or you would want to kill. Ideally, you kill. And so if you kill with Julius, that's going to give you an extra turn, and then you are able to use your skill 2, which is going to do all of this stuff. So ideally, when it comes to upgrading your skills, you would probably want to upgrade your skill 1 first if you're looking for damage, then upgrade your skill 2 if you're looking for all these additional effects, which are really, really crazy. But skill 1, getting that upgraded is nice because it reduces the mobility even more. So getting into at least level 4 would be my recommendation. Do that for the special skill, then work on skill 2, then work on skill 1. As far as the combined attack goes, I haven't really talked about that, but what it does, if self has a buff, attacks after granting a 30% increased damage dealt buff, inflicts a 10% reduced mobility debuff on the enemy. It's like, why would you use this when you could use the special? So you're probably not really ever going to be using the combined attack, so don't worry about the combined attack. And then last but not least, the passives. Let's talk about those before we get into the skill cards. So enhanced passive, if defeated for the first time upon receiving damage, grants temporal reversal, and this is going to restore him to a state of 45% HP when you have him enhanced up to 2 stars. Now, if you enhance him all the way, it restores 100% of his HP. So as far as enhancements go, should you be enhancing him? Oh my gosh, yes. So right here, when triggered, it'll restore 45% HP. If you get it to 5, 100% HP. You should absolutely be trying to get multiple copies of this Julius if you can. Use versatile mage pieces on him if you're free to play. that is going to be insanely good. I know it's really tough right now making the choice as a free-to-play player who you dupe, whether it's Julius or Noelle, because they're both really good. And honestly, I don't know if I have an answer for you. I guess if I had an opinion, I think Julius is going to be a little bit stronger, so I might use my versatile mage pieces on Julius, but that'll be a call that you guys have to make. Like, it's really tough to say. For this passive, just the general passive, increases attack by 10%. And then for the unique passive, for every 15 speed, this is really good, grants 3% increased damage dealt. Every turn grants time accumulation stacks up to 5 times. Time accumulation increases damage dealt by special skills by 10%. So basically, he's just going to hit harder the more speed he has, and Julius can actually have relatively high speed. So that's why, like, if you look at his special, it's not going to say as much damage as it might normally say for other characters at 135%, because he's getting an additional like 50%, I think, if you add it all up from the speed right there. So that's just a big like hard hitting move. So that's really good for Julius. Okay, so that's all of that for his skills and enhancement. Now let's talk about the skill page. Like I said, the skill page right here for Julius is the best possible option. Honestly, if you haven't pulled it yet, if you're free to play, you might be out of luck. You might want to try to do a couple more pulls if you can, do some singles, do whatever you can. Like, this skill page is almost necessary to make him as broken as he is. He's still really good without it, but having the skill page just makes him even more broken. So that leads me to say that there aren't really too many good options in terms of other skill pages to use. If you're really hurting for a skill page, if you're a free-to-play player and you're just like, I can't get the skill page, man, then here would be my recommendation. If you are able to get this skill page, it is, of course, going to be something that's harder to get still for free-to-play players because it is a character-based skill page, but this is the best possible option besides his skill page, I would say, for Julius. Okay, so this one applies increased all attack proportionate to your current HP. So since Julius, if you were able to maybe get him max enhance, restores his HP to 100%, he's going to have a lot of HP a lot of the time, meaning you are going to be able to increase his attack and magic attack, it's both, by a lot, 15 to 30%. Okay, so that's going to help you out a lot. I feel like this is the best possible skill card besides Julius' skill card, so that's what I would go for besides Julius' skill card right there. And then in terms of talents, we'll get to gear after this. I would probably go for the damage dealt talent and the crit damage talent, because crit damage is going to be nice if you are landing some of those crits like I was saying before. And then for defense, I would probably go for the just basic defense plus 20%, grants defense plus 4%, and crit resist. Like, these are literally the best defense slots pretty much on all characters. I don't know why you would really use these other ones. I mean, they're not going to be super useful. I feel like the defense is just, it goes crazy in PvP, right? It's really helpful, especially on an attacker type character who can be deleted easily if they're not built right. And then for support, I would go for this right here, which is going to grant an SP plus 1 buff upon having less than 2 SPs. SPs are special points, which let you get your special move back faster if you're new to the game. And so you're going to want your special move back at least as fast as you can get it. This gets it back 1 turn faster. It may not seem like a lot, but hey, it can make the difference in you winning a PvP match, because maybe you're going against an enemy Julius and you get your special back faster. So I feel like that's going to be the most useful thing. And then you also have damage resist on the other spot. The other option that you could potentially go for here is, I like this option too. You could keep the damage resist if you wanted, and you could go for the 20% chance to grant a reduced skill 2's cooldown, so you could get your skill 2 again. And remember, you saw all the cool stuff that skill 2 did, so, but this is only a 20% chance, whereas doing this one right here is a guaranteed SP plus 1. You're guaranteed to get your special back sooner. So I think this is the better way to go, personally, in terms of talent. That's how I would build your talent tree for Julius, in my personal opinion. And then as far as gear goes, so the main stat that you are looking for when building Julius is magic attack. So when you look at your gears, you're looking for magic attack as the main stat. Right here, I don't have a magic attack because I actually don't have enough magic attack gears when I'm trying to build like so many magic attack characters right now. I'm literally just stretched so thin on my LR gears and what I can actually use. So I'm trying to farm out more gears right now for Julius. Okay, but for the main stat, you want magic attack. And then for substats or like I guess, gear sets that you're looking for. The gear sets that you're going to be looking for, you're going to go to set, and you're looking for like a mobility set, and you're looking for an attack set. Right now, I do have an attack set already on Julius, and so you can see that with this attack set that I have 2 of the pieces of it. It's giving me an extra 220 magic attack, which is going to help him do more damage. The other gear set that you're going to want to potentially go for is mobility, and I don't have any LR like good mobility set pieces right now, but here is an example of what you would go for in an LR form. Conch of the Deep Sea. If you get 2 of the ones that say magic attack, has to have magic attack as the main stat, right? Grants the wearer a 5% increased speed buff for 2 turns at the start of a wave. That would be really good on Julius. So you want like speed and magic attack on Julius. Right now I have speed and defense. It's not terrible to go defense because it's going to help him survive a little bit more in PvP, but it's also going to hurt him when you go against a team that is faster than you. So just keep that in mind. So I would go attack and magic attack and speed when it comes to gear sets. And once again, I know gear gets confusing. You just want to make sure your main stat is magic attack, and then go for whatever like gear sets you can get besides the main stats. Okay, gear is really, really tricky, and it's hard to explain and hard for people to understand if you haven't been playing the game for a while. So don't feel bad if it has confused you up to this point. Hopefully this helped a little bit. I know I'm not the best at explaining things, but I really try to explain the gear because I know gear builds in this game can be definitely confusing to people. And then last but not least, let's talk about what teams Julius can fit on. I already have some pre-made teams here, so if you go into manage teams, this is the first team I would use Julius on for specifically PvP, because Valtos and Julius, Valtos is going to give extra mobility and speed, right? It's going to help your team out a lot. You use Rades and you use Noel for the barriers for the defense. Noel can obviously do damage as well. And then you have Julius for damage. Now you could use potentially like Julius's attack all and Noel's attack all in one turn if you have Rades doing his shield, and that opens up Noel to attack with Julius, and you're doing massive amounts of damage with these 2 attackers. So this is honestly probably one of the better PvP teams. Unfortunately, I don't have Valtos up to level 100 yet or geared yet, but when I do get him there, this will probably be the optimal team that I will be running in PvP. And it should be meta for a little bit to come. And then for team 2, this is a PvP or PvE team right here. And this is an all blue team. I feel like this will be helpful in particular raids. It'll be helpful in story, but it could be used anywhere really. And so the reason this team works really well is because you obviously have Charmy for healing, but then you have these 2 just doing debuffs, and you have Mars taking a lot of the damage, and you're able to just basically let Julius go crazy with his speed. So Julius is going to go crazy with his speed while these 2 lower speed, and Julius isn't going to be able to die. Like, sure, they could kill Julius, right? But even if they kill Julius, he'll just come back to life. So you have that going for you. So like, while on team 1, Julius doesn't die because of the barriers, team 2, he might die, but like it doesn't matter, right? So this is a really good option as a team for Julius, especially if you don't have all the characters on team 1, you might have the characters on team 2. And those are the only 2 teams that I really feel like Julius stands out on right now as a really good character. There are certainly other teams you could fit him on and let him be good, but if you want to see him be at his best, I feel like these are the 2 teams to do it. So hopefully that helps you guys, and if you guys enjoyed the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.